The sun stood high in the sky, pouring heat upon the wide plains. The air trembled above the dry ground, and even the animals searched for shade. Near a large oak tree stood a tent made of strong cloth and rope. At its entrance sat Abraham, an old man whose face carried both kindness and long years of waiting. He wiped sweat from his forehead and sighed softly. "The day is heavy," he murmured. "Even the wind refuses to visit." Life had slowed for him. Once he had traveled across deserts and mountains following a promise spoken by God, a promise that he would become the father of many nations. But now his hair was white, his hands wrinkled, and time seemed to move faster than hope. Inside the tent, Sarah worked quietly, arranging bowls and grinding flour. She moved carefully, her body tired from age but her spirit still strong. Sometimes she hummed to herself to forget the silence that filled their home. The silence where children's laughter should have been. Abraham leaned back against the tent pole and closed his eyes for a moment. Then suddenly, he felt something. He opened his eyes. Not far away saw two men, who appeared to be travelers. He blinked in surprise. They had not been there before. Travelers rarely crossed the land during the hottest part of the day. "Visitors," he whispered. Though old, but with unexpected energy. Hospitality was sacred to him. No stranger should pass without kindness. He reached them. "My lords," he said respectfully, "if I have found favor in your sight, please do not pass your servant by. Let water be brought to wash your feet. Rest under the tree. I will bring food so that you may be refreshed before continuing your journey." The travelers exchanged quiet looks. One of them smiled. "Do as you have said." Joy filled Abraham's face. He hurried back toward the tent, nearly stumbling in his excitement. "Sarah." She appeared at the entrance, surprised. "What has happened? You sound like a young shepherd again." "Quick," Abraham said, almost laughing. "Take fine flour and prepare bread. We have guests." Sarah raised her eyebrows. "In this heat?" "Yes. 3 travelers." Without complaint, she nodded and went inside to prepare the meal. Abraham then called to a servant tending animals nearby. "Choose the best calf," he instructed. "Prepare it quickly." The servant ran to obey. Soon the camp came alive with activity. Bread baked upon hot stones. Meat roasted over fire. Fresh milk and butter were prepared. When everything was ready, Abraham carried the food himself and placed it before the visitors beneath the tree. They ate peacefully. A strange calm surrounded the men. Even the air felt different, cooler somehow, though the sun still burned above. After some time, one of the travelers spoke. "Where is Sarah your wife?" The question surprised Abraham. "She is in the tent," he answered. Inside, Sarah paused. She had not meant to listen, but curiosity held her still. How did strangers know her name? Then the traveler spoke again, his voice steady and powerful. "I will surely return to you at this time next year, and Sarah shall have a son." The words fell like thunder. Sarah froze. "A son?" Her hands trembled. She pressed her back against the tent wall. Years rushed through her memory, years of disappointment, whispered prayers, and silent tears. She remembered watching other women cradle babies while she smiled politely, hiding her pain. Slowly, a small laugh escaped her lips. Not a joyful laugh but a tired one. "How can this be?" she whispered to herself. "I am worn with years, and Abraham is old also. Shall I now know such happiness?" Outside, Abraham stood quietly, unsure what to say. Then the traveler looked toward the tent. His eyes seemed to see through cloth and shadow. "Why did Sarah laugh?" he asked. Abraham's heart skipped. He had not heard her. The traveler continued. "Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the appointed time I will return, and Sarah shall have a son. Inside the tent, fear filled Sarah. He heard me. Slowly, she stepped outside. Her face showed both embarrassment and worry. I did not laugh, she said quickly. Silence followed. The traveler's expression remained gentle but firm. No, he replied softly. But you did laugh. Sarah lowered her eyes. She felt as though her hidden thoughts had been uncovered like footprints in sand. Something stirred within her then, not shame alone, but wonder. Who were these men? Abraham also sensed that this meeting was no ordinary visit. The air felt sacred, heavy with unseen presence. He spoke carefully. My lord, after all these years. The traveler answered simply. Nothing is impossible for God. The word seemed to echo beyond the camp. For a moment, no one moved. The wind returned, rustling the tree leaves above them. Then the visitors stood. They prepared to continue their journey. Abraham walked with them a short distance, unwilling to let them go too quickly. Peace go with you, he said respectfully. They nodded and departed across the plain. As they walked away, their figures seemed almost to shimmer in the sunlight until they disappeared beyond the hills. Abraham remained standing for a long time. Finally, he returned to the tent. Sarah waited near the entrance. Neither spoke at first. Well, Abraham said gently, did you hear? Sarah crossed her arms, pretending calm. I heard. And? She hesitated. I laughed, she admitted quietly. Abraham chuckled softly. So did my heart. She looked at him. Do you believe it? He thought for a moment. I have walked many years following promises I could not see, he said slowly. If the one who spoke before speaks again, then I will believe. Sarah sat down beside him. The sun began to lower in the sky, painting the land gold. What if hope disappoints us again? She asked. Abraham looked toward the horizon. Then we will still have walked with God. She considered his words. For the first time in many years, something warm stirred. Not certainty, but possibility. Days passed. Then weeks. Seasons changed. And slowly, quietly, Sarah felt her body changing. At first she said nothing. But one morning she stood outside the tent watching children play in a distant camp. Suddenly tears filled her eyes. She turned and ran inside. Abraham, she called. He hurried in, alarmed. What is wrong? She struggled to speak. Her voice trembled between laughter and tears. The promise. Understanding dawned slowly upon him. Then joy burst across his face. The promise, he repeated. They laughed together, not with doubt this time, but with wonder. Months later, the sound that had long been missing finally filled their home. The cry of a newborn child. Sarah held the baby close, unable to stop smiling. God has made laughter for me, she said softly. Everyone who hears will laugh with me. Abraham stood beside her, eyes shining. Outside, the same oak tree cast its shade upon the tent. The place of waiting had become the place of fulfillment. And long after the visitors had gone, their words remained true. Nothing is too hard for God.